Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Adult Child of Dysfunction. So, today I want to do something different, a little different. I want to specifically talk about something that Kyle Goodknight and I spoke about on the last episode. And it's something that when I got off the episode, I was like, wow, that needs more explaining. That needs more validation, and that needs more explanation because I do not ever want to leave anybody feeling even the slightest bit of unsafe or doomed or destined for failure or anything like that. Because, guys, if you've listened to any of these episodes, even just one of these episodes, you know that I believe that you're amazing, that you have everything inside of you to do the absolute best things and have the absolute best life you can have if you choose to do that. And it takes some work and it takes some courage and it takes some patience and it takes some time, but you can do it. So, what I want to talk about is that ACE test we discovered. It's called ACE, and it's Adverse Childhood Experiences. And it's literally a test, and it was developed by Kaiser Permanente. And it was a way to kind of assess the different things that children are exposed to in households that could potentially, and again, not probably, not definitely, not most likely, but potentially, sorry, raise the risk of having some adverse outcomes. So, what is the test? So, it's a test. It goes from 1 to 10. It lists all of these things, and I'm going to go over the things. And it's not a diagnosis. It's literally a snapshot picture of your exposure to stress in childhood. Now, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over the 10, and I want you to kind of make a mental note and mark down what your number is. And again, this isn't to doom you. This isn't to judge you. This isn't to scare you. This is to make you aware. This is to maybe go, so maybe I did have it rougher than I thought. Or maybe things did happen that I didn't want to really think about until now. Because ultimately, until you are aware, you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, we've talked about that 1,000 times. So I'm going to go over the ACEs, and I did, like, again, just make a mental note of what kind of where you fit in there. So number one is emotional abuse. Did you suffer any emotional abuse while you were a child? And that could be, doesn't have to be yet being yelled at all the time. It could be subtle. It could be just being told that you're small. It could be being told that you'll never do anything good. It could be being told that we're we regret having you, or you were never meant to be born, or it just these subtle comments that are kind of dug in there throughout your life. That's emotional abuse. Two, did you suffer any kind of physical abuse? So were you partially spanked? Were you made to do horrible things? Whatever it is, anything that was a physical violation of your safety is physical abuse. The next one is sexual abuse, and that kind of goes without reason. How to explain that? It is things that violently crossed your boundaries and that you were abused in a way that was, again, not your fault, but it happened. Those things happen as children. So that's number three. Number four and five are actually, to me, what I consider more damaging than the one, two, and three because they're not always visible. It's neglect. So, were you left alone home all the time? When you cried out for help, were you told to stifle it and just be quiet? Were your needs basically not met? And this is number four. That's an emotional neglect. So, were you not told you were loved? And also a physical neglect. So, were you withheld food? How many of you out there were punished and not allowed to eat for days? How many of you did that happen to? It happens. So I can remember being locked in a closet and my brother would hide slide crackers underneath because I wasn't allowed to eat. That is a physical neglect. Was one of your parents, your mother or your father, treated violently? Did you witness that? Um, was there fighting in your house? Was someone in your house? Was it scary to be in your house in general? Number seven, was there household substance abuse? And this doesn't necessarily have to be your parent or your grandparent or your guardian. This could have been a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle. Was there some kind of substance abuse in the house? Because we all know that nobody remains untouched from substance abuse. The next one, was there any kind of mental illness in your house? I had a foster sister who lived with us for 10 years who ultimately at the end of the day committed suicide. She clearly had some mental issues going on throughout her life. There was depression, there was anxiety. My mother, I don't even know what she was diagnosed with. We talk about this all the time because she was a child psychiatrist. So she kind of did her own self-diagnosing, but it was never talked about. But there was definitely mental illness in the house. My mother was 16 and she was anorexic and almost starved to death and was in the hospital, 63 pounds as a college student. So she carried those mental illnesses with her throughout her life. So I got to unfortunately bear the brunt of that and be a witness to that. Was there number nine? Was there a parental separation or was there a divorce in the house? Yes, my parents told me, unfortunately, when I was in second grade, they were getting divorced. They didn't even separate till I was in ninth grade. But the separation, the divorce, the animosity, the hate, the anger, all of that goes along with it happened those 7 years while I was in the house. And even if it hadn't, even if when I was in second grade, they had gotten divorced and you lose a parent, that is one of the ACEs. And the last one is incarcerated household member. And I kind of joke and say, well, we had quick bouts to prison or jail. When there was fights, somebody would get carted off to jail and then they'd get bailed out and they'd be home. The true abuse and neglect that was never talked about would have probably caused more incarceration in my house. So I always kind of joke and go, well, if anybody knew what was really going on, I would have been a 10 on the E scale, but I'm only a 9. So that's kind of my joke, but does it matter? Does it really matter how many of those things happen? I'm going to kind of add in a few other ones that when you look at the ACE scale, I mean, it was developed by the CDC and Kaiser Permanente years ago as a basis and indicators of childhood trauma. But there are some other things that I know are included sometimes when you read about the ACEs that they will include. And that is things like inappropriate witness. And what that means is, did you witness or see things that were not age appropriate or suitable for young children? I taught preschool and I had a student whose mother was unfortunately turning tricks in her apartment, and this little boy would go home sometimes and have to watch that. So it was inappropriate acts that he saw all the time, violence, parents fighting. That is all stuff that is inappropriate and not age appropriate at all for a child to witness. So that's another one. There are other things that can go on. You can think of a bunch of other ones. I'm not going to get into it. This is the main 10 ones, but I want you to think about those. How many of those happened to you? Now I'm going to kind of go over a couple things, which sometimes make me so angry, but a little bit of research, a little bit of numbers, and a little bit of statistics, quote unquote, and what the research say. And then I'm going to tell you why we can debunk all that, because I want to tell you, more importantly, what the research doesn't show, what statistics they don't include in the thriving of these children that go through these experiences. So first of all, they say that 64% of adults have at least one ACE. I would have to venture to say that I think if they did it now on 100 people, that it would be more than that. But I'm just going by the latest statistics and what they say. 64% have at least one. 1 in 6 adults have at least 4. So that's about roughly 15% or so have 4 or more ACEs. Again, does it matter? Does it really matter? What the statistics show, though, and these are the statistics that I want you to just listen to and then bam, get them out of your head, because they don't matter. I'm calling BS on all of them, because these I'm looking at is, yes, they took these statistics, but a good example is if there was alcoholism in the house, sometimes you didn't even know there was alcoholism in the house. And so those people aren't even in the statistics. So these are very vague numbers, I would like to say. But these are the statistics that kind of make me angry. These are the statistics that made me want to have this episode, because I felt like when we got off the other episode with Kyle the other day, that it could have been a disaster for leaving people feeling like, oh, I have 4 of these, I'm doomed. Or, oh, I have 7 of these, oh my gosh, I'll never be okay. These are the things they say, and then I'm going to tell you why it doesn't matter. People with a score of 4 or more are 4.5 times more likely to suffer from depression, 12 times more likely to attempt suicide, 10 times more likely to abuse drugs, 7 times more likely to be an alcoholic, 2 times more likely to develop heart disease or cancer. What does all that mean? What does that mean to you? It sounds heavy, but let me tell you, what's coming up next is the absolute most important part of the episode. And this is what I want you to hear. Why don't these numbers define you? Why don't these numbers to me matter? I'm a 9 or 10. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not committing suicide. I'm not abusing alcohol. I'm not injecting drugs. I don't have cancer. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not depressed. Like, it doesn't matter. And I'm a 9 or 10. So they're not there to show reality. They're there to show risk. They're based on statistical trends, not personal destiny. For those of you out there that are listening that have watched any of my shows, who determines your destiny? You do. You and only you. Because what they don't account for is things like resilience, your faith or spirituality, therapy or the healing work or the personal growth that you've done, loving relationships that you're in, and inner wisdom that you learn. Because, guys, you're not your trauma. You're your healing. You are your hope. You are the courage to do things differently. You are the cycle breaker. So I look at all these numbers and I go, papa on that. Because I know people with 9, 10 ACE scores, a lot of people with 9s and 10s ACE scores who build beautiful relationships, who break cycles, who raise their subconscious level up to an amazingly abundant thinking, positive, happy, conscious level. They start businesses, they help other people, they do amazing things. So, are we going to let this number get us down? Are we going to let this number scare us? No. What is it again? It is just a number. It is a snapshot, like you took a picture of your life and said, I got these 9 things. This is what I'm going to do about it. It's awareness. It's just knowing, hey, yeah, I did go through some stuff. And if I want to be better and I want to be happy, I'm going to have to maybe do something about it. So what can we do about it? What can we do? One, you're going to use this ACE score as a tool for awareness, not for judgment. You don't beat yourself up about it. Remember, none of this was your fault. None of this could have been controlled by you. None of this could have been changed by you. It was the people around you that needed to change it and they didn't. So now it's just something that happened. Ask yourself the positive questions. What did I do to survive? What needs work now? What do I want next? What do I want to do with these things? If I knew that I had, dealt with substance abuse in the house, where am I now as an adult? What can I do about it? Well, I can go to ACA meetings. I can join a support group. I can come work with Tammy, whatever it is. There's things that you can do about it. Healing happens in safe connection, not in isolation. So, guys, if you have questions, if you have doubts, if you have things that you're thinking about, and you go, wow, I could really work through some of that stuff, I encourage you, reach out, ask questions. You don't heal in isolation. You don't heal by yourself. Of course, you meditate by yourself or you spend some quiet time by yourself. And that is absolutely amazing. And I encourage you 100% to do it. But you heal in groups. You heal with someone. You talk it out. You talk about it. You get tools. You get resources. You find out the things that went wrong. And then you do what you have to do to change your mindset, to change your mental state, to look at them as learning experiences and not traumatic events. I was just talking to someone today earlier about it, and somebody said, well, something so traumatic happened when I was a kid and that trauma stuck in my body. And I said, if you had dealt with it then, if you had a loving, supporting, caring support system and you had processed and you had put closure to, and you would have put it to rest back then, would it still be trauma in your body? And they were like, absolutely not. So this is what we have to do. So this is the game. This is the game that we're playing. We find out what happened when we were younger and we go back and we fix that part of us. We come to terms with what happened when we were younger by giving our younger self that love we needed, by reframing it and giving it a different meaning, by telling a different story. I was listening to something yesterday. Again, I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of things. I think I was listening to Joe Dispenza yesterday talk, and he said that 50% of the stories we tell ourselves about the past are made up anyway. So if you are going to make up a story, my friends, make it a good one. Write new stories, write new endings, write new beginnings. You can do it, and only you can do it. So the reason I came on here today again is because I didn't want to leave you feeling like, oh my God, I'm a 9 out of 10 and life will never be good, because it's just a number. And you're more than just a number. You are your own hope. You are your own healing. You are your own destiny. So that number, rip it up. Rip it up. Who cares? Who cares what the number is? Do not stress about it. Do not judge yourself about it. And do not spend one more second worrying about that number. It is awareness. It is not your destiny. So, guys, that's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to come on here because this is a safe place. This is a place for you to learn. This is a place for you to get information and to get resources and to ask questions. So please, if you have any questions, reach out and ask. This is never going to be a place where we try to leave you triggered or try to leave you upset or try to leave you feeling hopeless, because that's not what life is about. Life is about finding your meaning, finding your purpose, finding your love, and that so includes loving yourself. And whatever you have to do, whatever steps you have to take, it is so, so worth it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that it made you feel a little more hopeful about maybe something that you might have been stressing about since you heard the last episode. And I truly hope that that is not the case. I hope that you are full of hope and ideas about an amazing future that you can have, that you will have. And I know you will. And also know when I sign out today that you are so worth every single second that you spend growing, healing, hoping, and believing. So thank you, and you all have a blessed day. See you next week.